My name's Tanvi. I go to Apex High School in Apex, North Carolina, and I'm in the Academy of Information Technology at Apex. I think the obviously like the in-person or in classroom education has been incredibly valuable, but I think it's almost like the outside of the classroom experiences that really make it. We had like several team bonding field trips earlier in the experience, which like really helped us to get to know one another and get to know our teachers. And then as we got a little older, we got to do a lot more like professional things. So we went to like career fairs and like mock interviews, and those really helped because, classroom education only really takes you so far. And you kind of need that extra little bit to really understand how it is going to the real world. Yeah, so I actually completed it the summer before my senior year. I'm currently a senior. Um, and it was a really good experience because I got to take all those things that I learned from NAF and AOIT, Academy of Information Technology, and kind of it all culminated in this one, almost like an end of high school project. Um, and then I also got to work with like professionals in the industry that I want to go into, which is like business and IT and things like that. So it was like it was an interesting like end point to 4 years of build up. So it was a virtual internship, obviously given the circumstances, but a typical day kind of looked like, we had some meetings in the morning, and then we would work on our own for a little bit on an app. Actually, I'm not sure how much detail I can go into with that, but essentially an app that helped people with mental health. And so our project kind of culminated in this like 2 week, or it was like a 4 week thing, but every 2 weeks we had like a presentation, and that was like where I think the AOIT kids' talents really shone through because we were able to take the soft skills that we've learned from doing so many presentations and team like group projects over the years, and we were able to take that and really translate it into a more professional environment. Because obviously there's some differences between like school projects and um, presentations for like professionally, but I think just because we had that background in AOIT and through NAF, we were able to take those experiences and translate them pretty well into a professional environment. Prior to joining AOIT, I actually had really no interest in IT. Both my parents are IT professionals, so they kind of encouraged me. Like they saw early on that like I might have a knack for it, have an interest in it. So they kind of pushed me to go into AOIT and NAV. And they said, if you don't like it in a year, you can always kind of change to a different thing. So initially when I went in, I kind of wanted to be a lawyer. And then and when I think about that, it seems like so far away, and like I was such a different person because as soon as I got into like IT and as soon as I got into like the professional side of IT, like especially through my internship, the more managerial side, the more business side, I realized that I really, really liked that field. And I actually ended up changing my college major from pre-law to business. So, and computer science, like a kind of a dual degree type thing. So it's definitely one of the biggest areas I've grown in because throughout middle school, I had this like one set destination, which is being a lawyer, but AOIT really, really shifted that path for me, and so did NAF. So, yeah. Yeah, I definitely pick my programming teacher, Miss Oakley. She actually unfortunately left this year, but she has been my programming teacher for sophomore and junior year. And it was really she well, in our academy, there's always been more boys than girls. Like the ratio is really leaning towards boys, and especially in the programming track. So AOIT is divided into two tracks: programming and multimedia, and web. It's like multimedia. I can't remember the exact name of the track, but it's essentially two tracks. And the programming track has always had like maybe like six girls max. So just having like a programming teacher that was also like a woman and then someone who has really like done a lot in the field, especially like things are just starting to get better for women in the computer science field, but she has been like someone really, really good in that field for a long time. And so it's almost kind of like an inspiration, definitely a role model for us. being like, we can accomplish things. And yeah, definitely like being in a classroom like with just a couple of other girls often made us feel kind of isolated, but she always made sure that we were involved and that we understood and we had confidence in ourselves. So that was like a really, really good thing she did. And she's probably the reason, honestly, that I changed from not really liking programming to loving it. Like one of the biggest things is just making you like make like learning, but more like about yourself than necessarily about the topic. Of course, they're there to teach you about a certain topic, but they're also there to teach you how to like develop and how to grow as a person. So like with Miss Oakley, she really taught me like the virtue of like patience and problem solving. And just I was not a very patient person before her classes, but especially with code and stuff, you need to be very patient and very diligent with the work. And so just having that as like, yes, I was learning code, but I was also developing my own personal skills and personal values through Miss Oakley. So I definitely think like that's a big part of being a teacher. That's just like teaching, but in a lot of different ways. Historically, there's always been like a definite shift, or not shift, a definite imbalance in computer science, especially. I mean, if you look at a lot of the major CEOs of big tech companies nowadays, they're mostly men. And so for women to take that like first step and really get to those places, it's really important to have like things like AIT that can cater to women and that can really make them feel like they can do this and be a woman in tech. So I definitely think that like NAF and AYT have been great steps for not only myself but all of the other women in my class. Yeah, I mean, definitely, I would just say thank you. I mean, nothing could have been accomplished without you guys, and hang in there. I guess I know they're probably feeling some of the same feelings that we are, but hopefully it'll be over soon and we can get back to normal.